Whoa! All right, man. Oh man, where's the intro screen? Is it gone?
It was there for like 2 seconds.
Oh, was it?
You're on though. It's been so long since you've done one of these.
I know, man. I'm out of practice. I don't know. I've only been doing it. I guess now we went through it today since 2008.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, what's up, YouTube?
There it is.
Yeah, welcome back.
All right, after a long vacation, Ryan's back, and now we are talking BRS TV 2008, BRS TV 2021.
Really looking at where we're going to take BRS TV in the future by looking where we came from, I think. And so, you know what? Throughout this whole thing, you're going to see a lot of different approaches to reefing education that we have taken, things that make it fun and exciting. I mean, like even today when we went through it, it was really kind of a refresher journey for myself. Like, wow, I forgot we did that.
Well, and that's funny too. Is like there's parts in here where you look back at what we're doing now. BRS TV, spoiler alert here. BRS TV investigates. We've been doing those, I don't know, since 2009, under a different thing. But yeah, when we go back and we look at Ryan's that video is actually an investigates. Oh yeah, it was.
All right,
it's cool.
Well, it's fun. Come back from my vacation. My vacation, by the way. I don't know. You guys stole it from me. I come back, I get stuck back in every day almost time. But anyway, I get to spend some time with my family, a little refreshed, and I think kind of excited about where we're going to go. So, all right.
Great.
So we took a bunch, went way back, and so you're going to see
first video
today, little clips of tons and tons and tons of video in sequence from when they decided. But why these things actually existed is the important part here. What happened, man, to make stuff this exist? And I'm just gonna actually kind of share why you're gonna see what you're gonna see.
Yeah.
You can tell that all of the stuff that came up was problems that I ran into myself or somebody here ran into and said, man, how do we solve that? And then how do we take that and share it with everybody else? And I'm gonna tell you, back in 2004 or whatever, this hobby would have seemed like that it was sharing a lot of information because you could go to a forum and there was tons and tons of people sharing information. But the people that were most successful, really, you see this in a lot of hobbies, so it's not unique to this one. Knowledge hoarding. Rather than, it's like this thing that makes me special is the fact that I'm uniquely good at this and I'm not going to tell anybody. In fact, I ran into this the other day, my sister-in-law won't give my wife a recipe for this pasta dish. Nope, you can only have it in my house.
Secretly guarded.
Yeah, knowledge hoarding. No, share that knowledge, share it with the universe. But, I'm going to tell you, my own personal belief is the opposite. It's not knowledge hoarding that makes you special. It's the fact that when you can help other people achieve their dreams that makes you special. Yeah. And there's a lot of people along the way, you're going to see this throughout all of this, that helped me achieve my dreams, and then all of a sudden, man, we just pumped it into YouTube, and it went to the rest of the universe.
13 years later.
All right, so let's start with number one.
2008.
2008, this is almost the very first video. Some of you may recognize this. I am too afraid to even be in the video. I'm actually afraid to even use my voice, and I'm not even using water, for God's sake. But here's the thing, man, some of you heard this story, and you're gonna hear some of these over again, but there's a lot of ones you haven't heard. I went to the fish store. They gave me a thing of Kent Turbo Calcium and told me to use it as directed, and it says a teaspoon every other day or whatever. Yeah. I used it for a little while, didn't do anything, largely because nobody told me to use alkalinity. David Greger comes to my house, local, I would say club aficionado, but he's like a legend. He's
the one that went to the in-depth, went through all the hard work of going through, pouring through forums and what to use and how to use and reading the science, reading the chemistry, and now he holds the knowledge.
Yep. Came to my house, man. I just know this guy through the forums, and he comes to my house, shows me how to mix up calcium and alkalinity solutions, shows me how to put them on a doser, and lo and behold, the tank just takes off, right? And man, he showed this to me in 30 minutes, man. I've been struggling for a year and a half, and 30 somebody, what if the rest of the world knew?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, and so that's what that video was, you know what, man, this was a challenge to me. If only somebody would be able to give that 10 minutes or so to everyone else, and roughly 8,000 people at the time got to share. Basically, we all thank David Greger.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
All right, so next one, man, until 2008, right? We're gonna drill a tank. Still terrified to be on the camera, still only my voice, but I wanna share this thing, right? I wanna share how you drill a tank. And so
you said, you had mentioned to me that you went and saw it done and you were like, this is so easy.
it was actually, you know what? I was actually pissed off because I bought this 110-gallon tank for like used from like a tank teardown, and I'm like, all right, I need an overflow, and so I got some friends, put this thing in a truck, brought it down to this store called Something Fishy that was local at the time, and left it there for a week. They drilled it, wouldn't come and bring it back, and then at one point I just needed a 40-gallon breeder, and another local club member says, "Oh, come over, man, I'll help you drill it." So I brought my 40-gallon breeder over there, and he's like, I'm like, what?
And that just make you mad?
Yeah, man, like I paid all this money, time.
All I need is a drill and a bit and some water, and I can do this myself at home.
If only people knew, right?
Hence the video.
Yeah, video creative, man. Let's share the information. All right, this one's another one. Reef Keeper 2, right?
Popular piece of equipment.
Okay. So now we're sharing people how to set up this Reef Keeper thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I originally, saw aquarium controllers on Marine Depot's catalog. It was like the octopus thing and whatever. I didn't get it. Like, why would you want to use these things? Why is it important? Blah, blah, blah.
There's a timer.
All right, so now I'm holding a club meeting at my house, right? And the guy that does FAWs, that did the filter guys, some of you guys probably know them from RODI stuff, was at my house and was like, hey, do you mind if I give a presentation on how the Reef Keeper 2 works to people that are there? I'm like, well, I don't know, sure, why not? And I watched it and I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Not only do I understand why that thing is valuable, but I can do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? It is inside my budget, I guess. Put it on, oh man, I totally understand that.
Not a glorified
Now,
timer.
if only somebody could share that little experience that was in my living room with the club members with 10,000 people.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Okay, another one. I mean, there's just so many.
This is still 2008.
2008 videos, right?
Just telling people.
Okay.
Wow.
So this is my first tank that's in my house, right? It's got T5 lights on it, and like at the time, everybody's telling me that like fluorescent lights won't support SPS, and like I don't know why they're saying that, but they are. I go to a club meeting, and I'm standing. This is like my very first club meeting, and this guy, oh man, what was his name? It'll come to me later. But this guy is telling me, that's all BS. Stop listening to all the people on the forums. I have tons of SPS under T5 lighting. Whoever's telling you fluorescent lights don't support SPS is total garbage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you, man, because...
well, I mean, the opposite of that conversation for people telling you that T5s can't grow it was metal halide.
It had to be halides, man.
Halide was the only way.
If you didn't have halides, you weren't going to have SPS at the time. That's what everybody was saying. Like, and I'm like, no. I think this was my first introduction, and whether I knew it or not at the time, was stop listening to everyone and start listening to someone.
Right.
Harv was his name, the username
there you
anyway. I don't remember his actual name, but his username on the TCMAS forum was Harv. And you know what? He was right. And he's been doing this for 15 years. Well, this is a guy I learned I should listen to.
And the rest of the hobby would soon find that it is true. It's that old, hang on to your what worked for you knowledge and nothing else can work. It's the only thing that's worked for me, and people hang on to that stuff for far too long.
All right, so that's 2008, right? So 2008, that's the first year of BRS TV.
Helping people.
All founded on, man, my life was hard. I wish other people's lives could be easier. Let's go show them how to do it.
The world needs to know.
All right. I didn't realize we were doing this in 2009.
This is cool.
I know, this was an epiphany today. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it went back that long. Show them the next one.
2009. Is this a reminiscent to anybody of what we've been doing in the last like 3 years? Because it is to me.
Yeah, okay, this is our first. I mean, we're not calling it BRS TV Investigates.
It absolutely is.
But this is it. We're testing.
Oh, the different calcium chlorides in this one?
Yeah, like.
You have driveway ice melt on the far right.
Yeah, I'm mixing up different calcium chlorides out because, like, you know, as I've used a lot of them. I've used the Dow Flake. I've used the pharmaceutical grade stuff. Can you go back to that one actually, if possible? And dude, all you gotta do is mix it up to know which one I want to use. Well, one of them's crystal clear, one of them's dirty brown, and we're using these, I think they're Imhoff settling cones to be able to collect all the garbage on the bottom.
Yeah.
And let's just show the universe, because a lot of people don't own cones like this or anything.
Or source all of the material to do a side-by-side experiment and then share with the world on some kind of platform.
Okay.
This is leading somewhere. This is leading towards the future of like what BRS TV is. Who else is going to do that?
Well, here's the thing, dude. Is like you see it. Like once, if we're sitting around and you did this in your house, wouldn't you want the world to know?
If I just told you, hey, this one mixes clear and that one doesn't, and maybe you should only go to this one, it's still not going to register until you actually see it for yourself.
Like, oh, that one is garbage.
I mean,
yeah,
it's the calcium chloride challenge. Which one did you want?
You know, it's later on too. I figure out that, like, you know what? It isn't actually just that garbage that's in there. It's the years of addition of that garbage. So even if like the fish didn't jump out the first day I put it in there,
5 years.
What happens over 5 years?
Yeah. Ooh.
All right. So
that was the first Investigates ever.
Investigates number 2 shows up.
Here it is.
So some of you, I'd be dying to know if anybody
I've
recognizes
gone back
this.
and watched this video. I've watched this multiple times just to see it clear. This was molasses and food coloring.
Yeah, so we're testing carbon now.
Yeah.
Right. I went out and had the local acrylics guy build me this little contraption so we could test bituminous pellets, bituminous carbon, lignite carbon, and the ROX carbon. And this is why.
Yeah.
Because I was told all kinds of different things, and I was told that like the various carbons are better for different reasons. And when you really look down on the forums and stuff, you'd realize nobody here really knows what they're talking about except for a couple.
Yeah.
Like Boomer from Reef Central really stood out as somebody who knew what he was talking about.
Rocks carbon or lignite,
he was actually the one that recommended rocks, I think, first, right?
Yeah.
There was Randy Holmes Farley knew what carbon was doing. Like there was a handful of people who really knew, and the rest of them was like, well, I love my brand.
It's aquarium carbon.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I love my brand. The brand that I was using, I believe at the time, was it was a big 5-gallon bucket from Marine Depot I got of Kent Marine. Right?
Oh, carbon, yeah.
Yeah, and it was, the reason I loved it is because it was those like pellets. They were kind of larger pellets.
Yeah.
They were like uniform in size and shape, didn't really have a lot of dust.
Fills up a bag pretty quickly because they're so large.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then I go talk to the actual people that make carbon, and they're like, yeah, dude, that's actually made for air. That stuff
Clogs up, like,
it allows like water to go, the water to go around it, and it doesn't actually filter anything. And to be honest, bituminous carbon isn't the best because it's tiny little pores and the stuff you're trying to pull out in aquariums. Like, so it's like really ideal for gases.
Yeah.
But in aquariums, it's like pigments of molecules of like yellowing pigments and all the kinds of other large organic waste you're trying to remove. Large pigments, right?
Yeah.
And you know what, dude? Hardness really matters and blah, 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 blah. So like, all right, let's go find out. And it turns out the test that they do is a molasses test, which is a yellow pigment of a large organic molecule of sugar. And then the medium-sized pores is done with a methylene blue test.
Oh, methylene blue, yeah.
I can do that.
Let's show everybody.
So he did it, and lo and behold, the pellets suck.
The proof is in the pudding when you finally show this in front of people's face. Like, the visual is so much more compelling rather than just me talking about it.
Well, the cool part too was that like it actually was really compelling because you could see the large pore really suck out all of the yellow stuff, but it would leave a lot of the blue behind, the medium pores. And then you'd see the medium pore carbon carbon would suck out all the blue but leave the yellow behind in many cases. And so, like, wow. And then what we did with those who don't know, the ROX carbon is actually like a blend of carbons, you know, and that's probably why Boomer was recommending it, partially. So it's like peat, carbon, all this other stuff.
Does a few different things.
Has all those different sizes of pores, and lo and behold, it pulls out all the different size molecules.
Clear water.
What a relief. You see it, man? Like, now I'm not based on I love one brand or another. It's
Which one's the best? The right tool, right job.
Boom. And I will tell you, there's still place in my heart actually for those large pellets. Like right now on the top of my protein skimmer, I have a bag of ROX, which is actually kind of unwieldy to soak up all the fart smell coming out of the skimmer.
But if you had a chamber with some lignite or bituminous,
I'd actually think I'd rather have the big like Kent pellets.
Oh yeah,
it's for air, man. Like, so there's a right tool, right job for everything, right? All right. So next
also,
one,
2009.
2009. We're still 2009 here. Let's explain some ideas.
Product demonstration.
Okay, you see this. This is the first time we talk about UV in 2009. And this is again, like people sharing information with me. They shared information with me about all the things we've talked about before. And everything I've read up to this point is UV's garbage, UV's garbage, UV doesn't work, UV's unnecessary, UV, everybody hates it, right? All right. So local club, again, I mean, learned so much people from, like, the amount of knowledge that was available in 2004, like, because everybody that was successful in 2004 was as nerdy as they get.
Oh, and that's what it took.
Yeah, you had to succeed at all costs, man. Like, it wasn't because somebody handed you the cookbook, man. Like, you had to figure this all out on your own.
Yeah.
All right, so the coolest thing ever, I decided I wanted to put some UV on these big tanks that I was setting up. And it turns out Emperor Aquatics has a distributor here at Koi Acres or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I go over there, and he's got giant cement pools. Like, I mean, they must be 30 feet by 20 feet, and there must be 20 of them. And it's the coolest thing ever because it's actually run by like a 13-year-old kid and his brother that's a little older than him, and his parents are homeschoolers, and they're like, you're gonna start your own business. And they helped these 13-year-old kids set up Koi Acres, and they just got back from Japan where they collected all of these koi. All right, and this facility clearly knew what it was doing. It was protecting these animals. They were getting the best stuff they could get out of Japan, and you know what?
They were using UV.
They were using not only UV, but they were using these ones.
Yeah.
All right, and that was my first interaction. Like, maybe that's stuff that I was hearing, maybe like from, you know, Joe on the forum that I don't even know. It's not as valuable as this guy.
You don't need UV. UV doesn't do anything.
They explained to me what his value was, and then I actually talked to the people after that because I want to know. I call up the people over at Emperor Aquatics, and they start explaining it to me. And I'm like, wow, man, maybe this isn't the way that people are presenting it, and maybe we should share this information with the rest of the world.
2009.
Like, I mean, this is what I learned. 2009. All right, 2010, right? Next one. All right. These are painful. This is super painful to watch.
You decide to step out and back in front of the camera.
Okay, I am now willing to be on camera, right? I am willing to talk.
There's a super white paper behind you.
Yeah, like I got a big white piece of paper I'm shining all these lights on to blow it out. 'Cause I don't know how to do this. Okay, if anybody knows, you can go back to that video real quick. What we're doing there is teaching people how to glue PVC.
Yes.
Okay. I later on, years later, I had a friend of mine actually make fun of me over this video. He's like, who doesn't know how to glue PVC?
I didn't at one point in time.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe call me dummy, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? Up until that point in my life, I had never had to glue PVC.
Wait, you think of the amount of people getting into the hobby, exposed to any type of plumbing beforehand, very, very minute amount of people that have somewhat of a plumbing experience before diving in. And now you're saying, oh, I need to plumb a tank with PVC and glue and cement and primer and all this other stuff? No idea. Plus, YouTube videos like that one really didn't exist.
Okay, I mean, I got a lot of bad advice, man. I swear to God, I did. And so I wanted to plumb my PVC. I had these two giant 4-foot by 8-foot frag tanks in my basement, tons and tons of plumbing, all plumbed to the same sump. It was pretty complex. And basically everything I heard about it was, yeah, primer's garbage. You know, you don't need to get the burrs off.
Yeah.
And waiting 24 hours is for losers.
Slap glue on it and go.
Yeah, whatever. You know what, dude? Assembled it, leaks. Recut it apart, lost all these fittings and valves, assembled it, leaks. And you know what? Then all I did was go to the instructions on the back of the can of the weld on.
It tells you exactly.
It tells you exactly what to do, man.
Follow this.
You cut the thing square, use a piece of sandpaper to get the burrs off, because without the burrs, it will actually do little grooves into the plastic and the glue. Give it a little twist because it will be melted by then with the glue. Done.
Use primer for the chemical bond between the two plastics. Yeah.
All right. You know, people still debate all that crap. I'll tell you, the moment that I started doing that way, 0 leaks rest of my life.
The world needs to know.
Yeah, I went from leak to, oh, do it the right way, 0 leaks. So yeah,
funny.
you can get lucky, man, or you can, I don't know, just big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
All right, so, I don't know. So some of you can say, yeah, maybe the PVC thing is unnecessary, but I bet you there's a lot of people out there like, yeah, I didn't know either, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In fact, I just heard a couple of mistakes I wish I didn't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? All right, next one.
Oh, this is
another project, man, still 2010, right?
Yeah.
Screen at top. This was like, okay, you know what I went through on my own tank here is I tried to put all kinds of different tops on top of this tank. And this is the various things that I found. First, I tried with my wave tank. I found it came with a glass lid.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And like, oh yeah, well, I'll use that. I didn't know that I was inhibiting both gas exchange as well as light. How much light actually reflects off the surface. It's not about the penetration, it's about the angle that it hits it, and then it bounces off. And then worse yet, when it's dirty, you can drop the par by probably 70%.
Yeah, watch your glass top in a week, and between salt creep, calcium or mineral deposit buildup, I mean, all you're doing is stopping light from getting back in your tank.
And then the gas exchange problems.
Oh,
yeah.
pH is a massive problem for everybody anyway.
Yeah, so all of those problems, man, I didn't know. And then so I had this super curvy wave tank, which I would never have done again, but it looked cool at the time. And then I was cutting egg crate, but egg crate had the exact same problem, is the light would, hit the little diffuser things.
Yeah.
And then I tried silver because I thought it would let the light in, but the little silver flakies went in the tank and it was white underneath. Yeah, oh, that's bad.
Yep.
And if I didn't have it on while I was watching TV, I would watch my wrasses jump the moon in front of me. It was a real problem, I found that screen, that top. I wish I knew who was the guy that did it on Reef Central. And
Yeah.
This is for me. It worked so well. Let's show people how to do it. All right.
2011.
So we're progressing here. We're learning new stuff every year.
4 years in, here
What
we
is
are.
this? Polyhydroxyl, no, whatever. All right. PHA.
Biopellets.
Biopellets, right?
What information exists
I mean,
out
this
there
is
about
2011 on biopellets.
So instead of, saying, hey, bulk reef supplies got biopellets, these are the ones you want to buy. Not going to tell you what it is, not going to tell you what it does. The sign or the actual name of what's going on, and the process behind how it works. Not trying to sell you a product at all, but it's information. If you're going to use biopellets, this is what it does. This is what you're getting into.
So this is because I called the manufacturer that supplies most of the people, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this stuff, man? And they don't service the aquarium industry per se. It was kind of like a repurposed thing,
Yeah.
And basically he said, you know what, dude, this is kind of a plastic or resin that is organically produced by bacteria. So in a world where bacteria has an ample source of organic carbon, but somewhat limited by nitrogen, phosphorus, and other things, the bacteria will produce these, plastics essentially as a way to store organic carbon for the future.
There you go.
I'm like, so bacteria is producing this natural carbon source for when organic carbon is scarce. Organic carbon is scarce in the aquarium.
Yep.
Wow. And then this video, we didn't actually show it, but what we did is I used that same carbon the apparatus with the four colors in it.
Yeah.
And I tried 4 different types of bio pellets, and some of them were this polyhydroxyl whatever, and some of them were like clearly very other different. You know, at the time people were like trying rice and all kinds of stuff. And you know what? I put a bunch of fish in there. I fed them every day, and you know what? The 2 that were based on this never ever saw any nitrate or phosphate for months of doing this. And then even then I was worried, like, well, maybe the bacteria just kind of uptook it. And by the way, there was no skimmer on here. So very interesting. Like basically everybody that does carbon dosing assumes your skimmers are taking out the bacteria that uptake it. The guy that actually told me about this said that's probably not true. This is actually the end game of denitrification, where it's turning into nitrogen gas. You know, and it's not the skimmer idea that people are saying. And I will tell you, these tanks did not have skimmers on them, and I was worried that maybe there's bacteria in there, so I let them sit for 6 months, right? And just like, well, apparently the bacteria will probably die, and the other ones all stayed the same. Nitrogen and phosphorus levels were really high, and these 2 didn't. The stuff was gone. So I don't know if we shared that information back then, but we were behind the scenes still doing BRStv Investigates. Like, we're gonna share this information with people. It better be accurate.
Gotta learn more.
This one was actually
just
cool
like
too.
this one.
This guy actually showed up. All right, so does anybody know what that is?
Marine pier block.
Yeah, okay.
But look at the water just flow through it.
Okay, I didn't believe in this stuff either at the time. All right, so the Marine Pier salesman guy flies into what is now a very tiny organization here at BRS. And he's like, dude, look at this stuff. And by the time, at that time, what you were seeing a lot of is this thing called like a bio rocker.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like kind of like that in a triangle, but it would like flip back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, dude, yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man. I understand the concept of 1 tablespoon of carbon is a football area, a football field of surface area, but like this thing, man, you know, it's
a brick.
And he's like, I want you to understand how porous this thing really is. It looks like a brick, dude, but water flows through it freely. And he pulled one out. He pulled this big block out with a PVC pipe fitting on the top of it, brought me to the sink, and water flows through it freely. I'm like, wow, that is actually pretty interesting, man. Like, I would have never thought it would be so little constriction to flow going through it.
You would think that PVC fitting would fill up with water before it actually made it through the block.
Yeah, and then like you really think about it, like, yeah, you know what? If you put that in a flow area of the tank, I can totally see why water would flow through this thing and provide all that surface area. So we do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is a great thing. Like, let's go to my sink and show you guys the exact same experience that I had because I thought it was cool. I thought maybe it would be fun to share. All right, this one's fun too.
Turn it into a business.
2010 still, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have
this group
you have employees.
This is our summer party. That's my business owner.
That was Drew.
This is Andrew, my business partner, the equal owner, customer service manager, and his wife. And we're doing Minute to Win It in the background.
There's Drew.
If you want to see all of us acting like idiots, you can go
back to 2011.
Search for Minute to Win It on our channel. But the reason I shared that is like in 2011, we're still not afraid to show, man, that like we have fun here.
Yeah.
You know, like the people that are doing this are, you know, doing this because we enjoy what we do. We enjoy each other, the camaraderie, man, and just don't take ourselves too seriously. And I feel like that has really kind of flowed through all the way till now. Like
easy, yeah.
You know, you get like, oh, these 2 goofballs talking about reefing all the time. Like, yeah, I'll own that all the way, man.
What we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love my job. I love what we do, and I don't know, it's just really fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Rewarding. All right.
Now, still 2011.
This is
an evolutionary step.
Yeah. First build series.
Reed and I, in my basement, setting up the first build series tank.
From scratch.
How to start a saltwater aquarium. All right, so.
This was the full guide, right? How to start a saltwater aquarium.
It was like 11 episodes on how to start a saltwater aquarium. And this was like the first epiphany of like, you know what, we're explaining all these little bits and pieces of it. Like we're telling you what flour is, and we're telling you what baking soda is and chocolate chips are, but we're not telling you how to make a cookie. You know, and so like this was the first attempt at making a cookie. You know, per se.
Follow this, you'll be
like,
all right.
I've been doing this for a while now. I know enough to set up a tank pretty reliably and replicably. This is a recipe that's successful. Let's share it with the universe. I will tell you, if you go back and watch these two like stone figures next to that tank, it's terrible production value.
Yeah.
But it actually did show you how to do it. You know?
Got a lot of views too.
It got well, because at the time, and nobody else had even attempted this.
Yeah. I mean, you could go to
it's 2011.
You're going to a forum and following somebody's build thread, or maybe somebody put together like a 5-page forum post thread that had walk you through some steps. But you got to read and understand what they're typing and get it.
And you trust that person.
Yeah, and get the.
You have to find somebody worthy of your trust, and then like consume so much. In video format, it's just like so short.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a perfect delivery method for this kind of stuff. All right. So that's our first build series. But then I had an idea, like because that one was so successful. We're gonna skip all the way to 2013 now.
Yep.
So this starts a series called Saltwater Basics, and we attempt to share, replicate a book.
Right.
Right. And so my source of inspiration on this one was actually Julian's book, Reefing Science, Technology, and some or another, Volume 3.
But it had chapters, and you could follow it along, start to finish.
It was going somewhere, man. You could explain and like where all this stuff was going. And it's like, you know what? What if somebody produced a video book? And so if you go back, you'll find the next one here is you'll find that like we did filtration. And so episode 1 of filtration of that book was biological, and the next one was chemical, and the next one was whatever.
Just kind of following along
that book.
Yeah.
It did not work out that way.
And we've come to find that YouTube video each week. If you're following along, it's great. But once that's passed, I'll go find episode
cat video.
Which it does really good. I love
cat really beat the hell out of that dog. Really a book format.
Yeah.
If you went to, and still if you go to the BRStv channel page, there's all these playlists that are actually.
This is a good one.
All right, so we're still learning more, right?
We're learning more, but in this one, it's like, so we see probes out there. Why not make or offer a better probe? But if nobody's going to do
there's junctions and double, single, whatever, and I asked the lab, what does lab grade even mean? And it turns out it means nothing.
Yeah.
It means like, what is lab grade? He's like, yeah, it's kind of a joke. It means it has a little connector on it. Like that's all it means. He talked about the junctions and why the junction actually. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, this is so nerdy, but damn it, I want to share it.
Yeah, well, decided to grab one and put BRS branding on it.
This is actually the.
And you see the shelves empty.
No, at it or where there was some shill. I'm like, oh wow.
We actually
what does lab grade mean? It means nothing. But there are some things that actually do matter. There's now a legit business here behind bulk resupply.
There's shelves, there's space, there's conveyor belts, there's 40 some employees.
Yeah, this is the point at where we moved from a 2,000-foot facility that busted down some walls and eventually became 10,000 to a 35,000-foot facility, which would later turn into 72, which we're going to bust down some more walls.
We have to break some more walls down.
Yeah, so, but 2013, it was kind of cool to see, that was the point at which we moved, which was a total nightmare. Sharing information. And looking back at this, often you think of a retail business as, you sell stuff, and the demand must be for more pH probes or calcium chloride or whatever. Looking back at this now, what I realize is the real demand was for knowledge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Education. Yeah. And just so happen to carry this stuff that we believe in on the shelves.
Yeah. So if you filled the demand for knowledge, lo and behold, people would buy stuff.
Yeah. It did work out.
I don't know, you know what? If you tell me how to drill a tank, damn it if I won't buy a drill bit. I don't know. So I don't know. That was really cool. 2014. This was actually an evolutionary event. All right. Does anybody know what that thing is down there? You might not even recognize it.
The old Apex Classic?
Yep.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I do know that.
I pushed back really hard on this thing. I didn't like it. I didn't like the Apex. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was a reef
Reef
keeper
keeper
guy
through and through?
Yeah, all the way. Because reef keeper was super easy. Like I could teach, like my grandma how to run this thing inside of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The reef keeper was so simple.
Yeah.
I did anything
Yeah.
I needed to do. Now there's things I wish now later on, I guess I could see why I wanted the internet stuff that never worked on the reef keeper. And that module was garbage. But you know what? I went to a trade show and finally I gave them some time and I'm like, you know what the problem with this thing is that it has a 180-page manual.
I read it.
A comprehensive user guide.
You have to
right?
be geeky like me to read it.
Things have changed since then.
Yeah.
Like 180,000 or 80 page, and then it isn't like a catalog where I get like, oh, I set up my auto top off, go to page 162. It literally assumes that you've read all other 161 pages prior to this. Like, is there any other product in my life, man, that I would buy that requires a 180-page manual, full page?
Maybe RC cars or something. I don't know. There's probably other complex hobbies, but I don't know if there would be 180 pages.
Zero, man. Nothing else in my life. I wouldn't do it.
Super complex.
Okay, and then like what I figured out though is actually the better resource was you just go to their forum and just say, hey, I want to set up a top off, and somebody would give you some code to paste.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's way better idea. But then you know what I figured out too is like, man, what if we just do a series that like does the same thing, which takes like this really long textbook.
Yeah.
And just boils it down into 5-minute
Chapter.
little bits that are like, hey, just do this, man.
20.
Right?
Yeah. 20 episodes.
So we did 20 episodes of the Neptune series, and it changed the trajectory of people that were successful using this very complex thing.
Yeah.
Again, like, it wasn't the fact that people didn't want the Apex or anything. It's just like, it's kind of a scary product at the time. And I mean, this is, again, 2014. Now they got Fusion and they got all the little tasks and stuff a million times easier. But like, man, let's get the information out there and the knowledge, because once you understand how to use it,
It's easier for me to say, yes, I want that.
Yeah, and like as much as I hated like if-then statements and whatever, I still find myself going back because it has so much capability once you understand like just a couple little things. Like, oh my God, I can do so much stuff.
Yep.
All right.
That's what spoke to me.
All right.
I like this one.
Okay. This one, I really like this one too. Does anybody recognize what this is?
Oh, yeah.
This is the clownfish harem. This is our second real build series.
Yeah. And actually taking a concept that, I like how you have it written here. The fish police told you it was impossible, but no is the enemy of yes.
Yes, hear that again. No is the enemy of yes, right? And
Can't be done.
Like, this is actually now one of my #1 frustrations with like a lot of things, but definitely within the hobby actually, is there's so many people telling people, no, you can't do it, rather than exploring how to do it, and when they learn, not sharing it with the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
And this is actually another good example of, I really wanted to do this. I really get like, the behavior is the thing that gets me excited about reefing in many cases. Like, so the concept of having a harem of clownfish where they all start as babies, one of them becomes a female, then you get the subdominant males, and you get the the little minions, and then if the female dies, and they all kind of go up in hierarchy, and like how this network of people work. And then when you figured out what the solution was to it, and I read a thread called like 30 clownfish, 3 years.
Yep.
Was it Herbert or?
I forget his name. You mentioned him a few times.
But I read it was like like 30 some pages on Reef Central on how to do this, and like he documented it for years.
Yeah.
Right. And like.
The only
how
other
many
way,
people are there going to spend a year,
I know,
30 pages?
The only way that you're going to find out how to do this successfully, rather than just hearing no, 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 is to go read that and find out how to do it successfully.
Yep. And you know what? When he failed, he shared that too, which is a huge lesson.
Major benefit.
The failures actually are the most important parts of the whole thing, and the part that most people want to hide.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so what I figured out was this is all just a community. It's about a community, whether it be people, rats, or fish, right? Doesn't matter. When food is scarce, the community gets pissed off and kills each other. When habitat is scarce, the community gets pissed off and kills each other,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When anything is unstable, weather, anything, man, everybody gets on edge, man. And it's like, I'm like, once you understand it, like that it's just a community in there, like, oh, you know what? If we make a stable, reliable food source, if we have more than adequate habitat needs, and we keep all of it really, really stable and predictable,
Success.
everybody gets along.
Yeah. Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm like, wow.
4.5 years that thing
Yeah,
lasted.
and then this is another lesson
Long
that we
term.
learned there is the proof is in the pudding. You can tell anybody anything, but if you show your 4 years worth of success publicly, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
Yep.
It can be done.
And the failures along the way, right? And I'm like, man, this is the foundation of things to come, right? Like, but this is the biggest lesson, man. If I could have anybody out there come along for the ride, it's stop saying no and start saying how.
Yeah.
Right. I had this conversation with Elliot the other day.
Well, you mentioned this in a lot of meetings and stuff around here when we're trying to creatively come up with ideas. Like, no is not an answer. If you had the biggest effing hammer in the world to smash this problem, how would you do it? Unlimited budget, unlimited everything, how would you do it? Like, clear no from your mind.
Exactly that. An infinite size hammer, infinite budget, no's not an option. Could you do it? The answer's always yes.
Starts turning the wheels.
Yeah, always yes. And it's just how. And then you can decide at the end, am I willing to do it?
Yeah.
So this is actually a good example. So I was looking at some purple queen anthias when I was at Sea Dwelling with Elliot. And he's like, don't take those things, dude. They just die.
Yeah.
They will die 100%. Don't bring those things home. And then I started talking to him on the phone the other day about it. And I'm like, dude, is it really that they just die? Or can it be done? And I had to bring the infinite hammer conversation out, right? And the infinite hammer conversation, he's like, yeah, so here's the problem, is these are like planktivorous fish. They eat a little plankton and whatever, and they eat it like constantly.
Right.
So yeah, like if you were willing to feed the tank constantly the right food, and we're not exactly sure what the right food is, but like, you know, like pretend it was like Calanus, tiny little particle of food, and you're gonna feed it 5-6 times a day, it is very likely you could be successful. He's like, oh, there's one other part to this though, is that you have this fish that needs to eat that frequently. It doesn't go through the supply chain very well. And so he's like, dude, if you really want to be successful with it, you would probably find somebody that's willing to go down to fish row, feeding them the way that they need to be fed. And the success rate, no, it can't be done. These things always die. And then you start thinking about what are the logical example of how it can be done. Now the question then becomes, and will your approach to filtration wasn't here in this case again? No. I was really excited. All right, now
I want to bring Mac into the world.
All right, there's Julian and Size debating this concept for you guys. They don't make those things anymore, but it was in Chicago. I was just absorbing him, like, oh my kind of information, again, everybody. And these people are worth listening to here.
Yeah.
No, not the thought leaders want to share it with as many people.